What's up, fam? It's your main man, Coach Crump, on another great episode of the Boy Man King podcast with my co-host Chizzy. Say what's up to the people.
My guy, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
Listen, I am humbled. I am honored.
Yes, sir.
I am beyond just grateful to be in the presence of greatness.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Because we have a special guest. We have none other than a father, than a husband, than a man of God, than a leader, than an author, than a director, than an entrepreneur. But we have the greatest husband of all time on the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the platform, Darryl W. Thomas. What's up, family? What's good, kid? What's good, family? Welcome to the platform, my guy.
What's up, bro? What's up, y'all, man? It's a pleasure to be here. I'm starting to look around like, who this brother talking about, man? Like, for real.
Man, you got the juice, bro. You got the juice, man. Welcome to the platform, bro.
Appreciate you, bro.
But I feel like we're in the inner circle of men who do the real work in real life of mentoring men. You know, a lot of people know me and Chizzy lately for the podcast over the past 3 years. But what they didn't know, Darryl, is 20 years ago, we've been doing community work with gangs, with kids who've been kicked out of schools. Yeah. We were literally running, both of us had 10 years of running an intervention for the country of Bermuda, gang intervention. Chizzy's nonprofit organization did a re-entry program for people who were disenfranchised, marginalized in our community from the ages of 18 to 35. Mm-hmm. Then we was also mentor kids in basketball, taking them on trips to tournaments in Vegas and Toronto and all of the East Coast. So like when I say we've been doing the work in real life and we watch you do this work in real life, it's like, yes, people could get on podcasts and talk, but what we need is men in our communities to show up for these young men. And I want to thank you on behalf of everybody who's a trench worker, who's a frontline worker. Man, thank you for showing up in a real way for these young men, man. Kudos to you, bro.
Appreciate that, bro. For real, man.
So our audience who don't know, tell them a little bit about what you actually do in that space, man, and give people some game and insight on that and why you do it.
Yeah, man. I would take you back to the why first, and I'll tell you what I do. It was a time when my dad had set me down, and my dad is Darryl Sr. He was like, DJ Darryl Jr. He said, I don't know what's going to happen to me, son, but if something happens to me, make sure you take care of little brother Quincy. I was like, huh? The way we raise is either yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. You don't ask questions. You just kind of just keep moving, you know? And so in that moment, I remember asking my daddy, I said, well, what do you mean, Daddy? Hold up. Like, what do you mean if something happens to you? He said, son, don't worry about that. He said, if something happens to me, make sure you take care of little brother Quincy. Long story short, 2 weeks goes by, February 16th, 1987, something actually happens to my dad. He gets caught up in this physical altercation, very heated, domestic violence, and he didn't live to tell about it. But that particular day, I was actually there, and I remember crying out to my dad, man. His body's his head is on my lap, and he's fighting to breathe, taking his very last breaths. And I'm like, Daddy, say something, please. Please say something. And his reply was, yeah, just like that. Daddy, say something, please. Yeah. In a matter of moments, the pupils of his eyes, they dilate and the breathing stops. I'm 14 years old. I'm a freshman in high school. And I had one thought in my mind, because she just killed Superman. You know what I mean? In my mind, like, as many flaws as my dad had, she just took Superman from me. And I said, I'm about to retaliate, life for life. And as I got ready to roll his body off of my lap, I looked over my left shoulder, and the person I saw was Quincy, my little brother. And that changed everything. Not only did I find a reason to make the right move that night, but I found my purpose, which is to reach back for these young kings who are in need, right? Who are hurting, who are at a crossroad. Man, do I go left and ruin my life? Or do I make the right choice, right? And make something positive despite all the at-risk factors I may have, that I may be dealing with. And so I found purpose that night, man. And ever since then, I've been reaching back to actually build up, to pull up, to empower, to inspire these young kings, man. And so the work I do nowadays, that's exactly what I do. It's men empowerment, you know, starting with the young kings, teenagers, all the way up to young adults. I do a lot of work there. I've been doing that for 20 plus years, just like yourselves, man. I've been doing that, been doing that work. But yeah, so the ones I see now, man, I don't just see, you know, some statistic or some knucklehead, man. I see my little Quincy. And the same promise I made my daddy, you know, 28 years ago, I'm still honoring that promise to this day, right?
Yeah, man. I
What was
love
that
it.
struggle at 14? Let's stay at 14 real quick. And now you're forced in a situation to take care of your younger brother. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what was it? What did that feel like, tangibly, day to day, moving forward? I mean, you're this eloquent kind of God who's working in the community, working with young people now because you find your purpose and your why on that particular thing. But I'm pretty sure it didn't come just like that in terms of it wasn't like a light switch. I'm pretty sure there were challenges, there were things that you had to push through, given that your Superman is no longer. Speak a little bit about that as a shorty, as a 14-year-old in Texas, man, what that's like for you in this new space that you find yourself in, unfortunately.
Yeah, as a 14-year-old, it was heavy. Like it was heavy. And I found myself um almost trying to put on this front like everything was okay. You know, so those emotions that would come up where I'm missing my dad, I'm feeling sad, I would suppress those emotions. Those emotions that came up and I was feeling just vulnerable or feeling scared even because I'm not quite sure what tomorrow holds. I don't know how to fill my daddy's role, you know, for my little brother Quincy. I don't know how to do it, but I made a vow that I was going to do it. And so I would put on this front like I was good. And I would suppress those emotions. And I would suppress them and I would suppress them. And to the point 2 years down the road, I got to this space in high school. I'm a junior now. And I remember running into this girl that I just fell in love with, man, for a number of reasons. But the biggest one was one day I was at her house, happened to be chilling, man, at her house. Um, and I remember all of a sudden a tear just dropped. And then that's like the whole dam just busted open, man. And I just started just boo-hooing, man, just crying. I'm like, man, she about to judge me. She about to call me a punk, man. She ain't gonna want nothing to do with me, you know, and I'm snotting and everything, man. She just took her arm, she wrapped it around me, she pulled my head in close and laid it on her shoulder. In that moment, I knew I had a real one, but I was able to get all those pent up emotions out, you know, because I was on the verge of either exploding or imploding, if not doing both. And so that same woman, by the grace of God, man, I have been able to propose to her at our graduation and been married to her for 24 years. It'll be 25 in November.
Man, congratulations, bro. That's powerful.
Yeah,
So some
it.
people may hear the statement of the greatest husband of all time and don't have the context. Me and
Yeah.
Darryl are actually really good friends.
Yeah.
We've actually known each other, man, close to 10 years, I think, bro. It's been a minute, man. At least 8.
Yeah.
From Game Changers. So
Yep.
kind of tell the people, man, kind of the situation with your wife. I think it's just important that story is always shared.
Yeah. So remember that this is my high school sweetheart, man. I'm like, man, I feel indebted to this woman. Like you didn't judge me. You let me get that off my chest. You allowed me to be me. And I have to put on this Superman cape around you. Like, and it was a blessing, man. And I said, man, whatever I can do to make sure I take care of her, I want to take care of her. And I remember I used to walk my girlfriend, man, to her house after school every day. And her daddy wouldn't let me come too far, right? Like he's like, hey, you can stop at the curb, but don't be walking, don't step 1 foot into my yard. Like don't do that. And so this particular day though, man, I was like, man, I heard what he said, babe. But it's important that I talk to your daddy. And so I remember taking a step into the yard, man. I stepped up to the porch. I knocked on the door. I was like, hey, is Mr. Ferguson here? And they was like, yeah, come on in. I came on in, man. I was like, hey, Mr. Ferguson, with all due respect, sir, I love your daughter. If it's okay, I want to marry her. He looked at me like, boy, you must be stupid, crazy, you must be all of it, right? Because I told you, first of all, not to step foot in my yard. So why are you in my house? You know, the second thing, you want to marry my daughter? You know how it is for us fathers, man. It's like, it's like no man is good enough for your daughter, you know, especially not initially. Like I gotta feel you out, but no man is good enough for my daughter. And so I can understand where he's coming from now. But in that moment, man, he was like, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes, sir, Mr. Ferguson." He said, No. He said, "Are you sure?" And he pointed to a woman that sat in the corner of the room, and she sat in a wheelchair. He said, "It's a good chance that she can end up just like her. Are you sure you want to marry my daughter?" I looked at that woman, and I looked back at him. But when I look back at that woman, like her eyes reassured me, like, "Son, you making the right move. If you want to marry my daughter, go for it." That was her mama. And I said, "Mr. Ferguson, with all due respect, sir, even she ends up like Miss Ferguson." I said, "I ain't going nowhere." I said, "I love your daughter. I want to marry her." And he gave me his blessing, man. And we got married. And shortly into it, man, 6 years into our marriage, my wife started to like these symptoms started to manifest. The same symptoms that her mom had displayed when she first started showing signs of this incurable disorder that had her wheelchair bound. It's hereditary, of course. You know, it's one of those things where doctors say, "Hey, it is what it is. Just make sure you get your kids tested early because there's a good chance they're going to end up with it. Stop having babies," like all that kind of stuff they were telling us at that time, man. But for the last 18 going on 19 years, man, we've been dealing with this. And my vow to my wife again is that, baby, I ain't going nowhere. Like when I say I love you, like it ain't no capping with that. Like I love you, right? And I'm here. However I can make life, you know, just memorable, man. However we can make it, you know, just make this thing beautiful. I said, I want to do that. I want to do it with you. And it ain't been easy, man, but it's been worth it, bro. It's been worth it, man.
Man,
I'm just gonna be real with you. And Chris said it originally. I know my boy. I know his jokey 24/7, 365. I knew his the other serious side too, but when he said it, I was like, okay. I'm now listening to your story, and of course, I got a snapshot. But I also know I'm a man. I was a husband, a divorced husband. And so first, I'm kind of humbled to be in the presence of a man who not only takes community and people, but is committed to his wife under the circumstance. Because truth be told, I can only imagine what that's like as a husband. I can only imagine what that's like. And you know, for us sometimes as men, it's easy to just leave. Like leaving is the easiest part to do, and as much as pain that could come with the separation or divorce, I can just tell you personally how painful that could be. You know, it pales in comparison to staying and working through challenges. So I'm really, really humbled to be able to hear your story, a little snapshot of your story, and it's inspiring me. I can imagine what it's going to do for our listeners, and I have zero understanding of what that's like, but I can listen to you talk about it all the time. I can listen to you. I don't even have to ask you any questions. I just want to hear from a man of God how is navigating the nuances and the decision to stay, because I know it's not easy. I know as a man have needs. You got eyes.
Yeah.
You know, you have flesh.
Yeah.
The Bible talks about shedding your flesh daily. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But before he even answers that, Chizzy, how long she's been wheelchair bound? Because I think it's important to help men. Because how long she's been wheelchair bound? Let me give you a little bit more context.
Man, my baby girl, so we have 5 kids. Our oldest and youngest are girls, the boys in the middle, 3 boys in the middle. My baby girl, she is 15. When she was pregnant with her, she was using a walker. She started using a walker. And then we came out the shelter, man. We were in a homeless shelter in 2012. So I think the wheelchair came in.
Hold on, bro. Hold
I'm look.
on. You was with 5 kids with your wife with a hereditary physical
disorder
that really makes her like can't do for herself. And after your 5th child, y'all was in a homeless shelter?
Right. Yeah.
Bro, I never knew about the homeless shelter piece. That some kind of way that got lost in the story, bro. So
yeah.
how long y'all was in the homeless shelter?
We went September of 2011, and no. It was it was October 2011, and then we stayed until February of 2012. I actually tried to go back into the Marine Corps, man. Because I was like, man, at least I know the military life. I can get back in there. I got my degree now. You know, I can become an officer. And during that time, we were in our last month or so. And so my wife was there holding down the fort while I'm trying to go to OCS, right, to make a better, make things better for my family and I, man. But she ended up being, so we've been in the homeless shelter for 6 months. That's how long we were there for. And then, like I was saying, as far as the wheelchair, though, I believe my wife started to use the wheelchair. My daughter is probably about 3 or 4. So probably about 10, 11 years, I would say about that. I'm trying to pinpoint the exact date, and I can't right now, but yeah, probably about 10 years at least.
So a couple years back.
Put it this way, when you and I had met, Crump, you and I had met back in Game Changers, that's when she was in the wheelchair then.
Yeah. So when we talking about wives, I'm not getting the context, Chizzy. I'm thinking wives I'm thinking wives like everybody fully healthy walking around. But when I saw you with your wife, and I saw you wipe her face and move her hair, and like when y'all was on vacation, you picking up the wheelchair, and I was like, I just said, me and Jeremy, we literally, when we have hard times, bro, we literally lean on your witness to be like, bro, we can't complain, bro. You can't complain when you know somebody, not know of somebody. When you know somebody like 5 kids doing the community work, was in a homeless shelter, wife is completely wheelchair bound, and has needs support day to day, and you in the family are the support system, the service to her. Like every time I see you, bro, like Chizzy, I am humbled to, like, whatever I was thinking, I stopped thinking it
I
instantly
don't
when I
even
see
know
you
what
with
to
your.
say anymore, bro, because I know what my struggles are currently, right? And I'm speechless. I'm really, because I don't even know how to articulate. We've been talking for what, 10, 15 minutes maybe, and I have little perspective about life up until this particular point. And I'm saying, brother, to celebrate you on this platform, we could sit here all night and just celebrate you as a man of God, as a person you are, because just because, like, a lot of the work that we do is because we have a passion for it, and a lot of choices we make, we choose to do them. But there are options. There are other options. You could be working the corporate sector for life. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying all that to say that you can still stand in your kingship with your responsibilities, wearing 6 million hats, caring for your family, caring for your wife, caring for yourself, still giving to your people, brother. How, like, where's your energy? I know the answer, but I want you to articulate where you get your energy from. I want you to tell the people what keeps you, what sustains you, and all that you have going on.
Man. Wow. Man, y'all got me tearing up over here, man, because I'll be honest with you. I used to say my wife and my kids are my heartbeat. Like, that's the reason why I do what I do. But something deeper than my wife and my kids, man, is the word of God says, "Oh, taste and see that he's good." And like I've tasted and I've seen how good he is, man. Even when we don't deserve it, it's like he's still faithfully good, you know. And I know how many times I done jacked up, man. And yeah, he's still good. And for me, like I'm like, when I talk about being indebted to my wife, when I talk about honoring my word, that I had made to my dad as far as looking after Quincy, I feel like, man, I owe everything to the Lord, man. Like I know that, like I owe everything to him. And I'm just chasing that well done, man. Like I just want to hear well done. Like, Lord, when you look at me and you see the way I handle your daughter, I want you to say, well done. When you see the way that I handle your children, the 5 kids that you've blessed me to steward, to lead, to build up, man, I want you to say, well done. Whatever I put my hands to do, like for real, I want him to say, well done, man. That's really where I'm at, Chizzy. Like I really want to hear him say, well done, bro. like desperately, man. I want to hear him say, well done. And so the energy, man, it's him like supplying that, because there's many a times, man, physically, mentally, emotionally, man, drained, spiritually even, man, I'm drained. Like there is no energy. And I still find myself still trying to pour from this empty cup, as they say, the proverbial empty cup, man. But and there's times where I wanted to just tap. I ain't gonna sit up in front. Like, I'm done, guy. He's like, nah. You know how I was giving this analogy to my wife earlier. I said, man, you know how boxers can be in the ring, you know what I mean? And they going, pound for pound, man, just going at it. And they get to the point where they losing. And the very thing that saved them was the bell. Man, that's how I be feeling sometimes, man. I got saved by the bell. And God was able to put me, back in the corner. He started, talking to me, started giving me some water, you know what I'm saying? Like giving me strategy. Like, all right, this is what you need to do. And that's what it's been like, man. And but here recently, man, like just last night, my wife, she would get up multiple times throughout the night, man. Like sometimes she'll belt this cry, and she's just crying for help, and I have to get up. Man, I remember counting one time, getting up 14 times in the middle of the night, just to take, just to help my wife get repositioned and all this kind of stuff, go to the restroom, whatever it may be. Well, last night, man, she got up, man, and she was like just really, really in discomfort. And man, like God had put it on my heart to just start taking authority over that thing, man. And this is like coming out, the bell had rung. I'm in the corner. I'm like, man, God, I don't know how much longer. And last night, man, he reminded me of the authority that he has given his children, man. And for me to exercise that authority, over those torments and spirits, man. And so that's what we did, bro. And my wife slept like a baby after that, man. But I'm just saying, like, it's those things like that give me energy. It's those wins that I see along the way that gives me energy. When I can see her genuinely smile when she sees me and she ain't rolling her eyes, listen, that gives me energy, man. When I can see my kids, they see how I'm able to respond to my wife, and I'm being patient with her, man. That gives me energy, man, because I feel like that's me doing what's pleasing to the Father. You know what I'm saying? And that, again, that's what energizes me, man. It's chasing that well done.
Jeez.
Well, you gave us energy. I mean, to be frank, we didn't interview you. We just sat here and had a testimony about, thank you for showing us what a man chasing after God's heart actually looks like, man. Darryl, I tell you all the time, man, and I know we crack jokes and but I'm dead serious when I say you're one of the most honorable, and I know you're not perfect, bro, and I don't care. The work that you carry out day to day, you're one of the most honorable men I ever met in my life, man. It is truly an honor, not just to meet you, but to call you brother. And I'm just so grateful you take the time. But tell the people what you got going on. Tell the people where they can find out more about you, and tell them what you want to leave them with as a final thought.
Yeah, man. Again, I appreciate you, bro. Thank y'all for the opportunity. I think for me, the thing that we have going on right now, it's a number of things, but a lot of it's revolving around the young people. And we're on a mission this year to impact 100,000. And that's us getting in front of them, speaking to them, but that's also us taking this book right here and putting it into the hands of these young people.
Come on.
And so one of the biggest things that you can help us do is get these books, into the hands of the young people. That's one. But two, if you know of any opportunities to come in and to empower these young adults, especially high school, college age is primarily where we are. Like plug us in. Like don't hesitate. I think the the thing that I would leave you with is this, that a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. And I say this so many different times, man, but I truly believe that. I believe that every one of us have the opportunity to influence somebody, which makes us all leaders, to some degree. And it's important that we don't waste those opportunities, man. Like I was just like looking up, like here, probably about 40 miles down the road in another town over, there was a young lady who was in middle school who ended up getting stabbed, and she died, man, as a result of the stab wounds. And she's in middle school. You know what I'm saying? I'm just thinking about how precious life is.
Yeah.
And so many times, man, we get so caught up, in our own little bubble, and our own cares, that we forget to help light the candle of somebody else that may be going through some things, man. And so for me, I just want to encourage the listeners, man, like for real, you are a leader, right? Listen to me. You are a leader. You're meant to influence. Don't leave this world with it being in a worse condition than the way that you had came into it, man. I'm challenging you for real to light as many candles as you can, because time is short. And that's real talk.
I love it, man. Chizzy, final thoughts, man.
Man, this episode can go on for hours and hours and hours. I'm humbled to be in the presence of greatness, and I don't take that lightly. So I really appreciate you taking out the time out of your schedule to sit and talk with us on this platform. I know someone's blessed from this episode. I'm looking forward to us doing the live with you when time comes, because your story, your honor, your commitment, your why is second to none. And so I'm encouraged. I'm energized as a result of this conversation. So I really appreciate being in this space.
Yeah, and he does it every time, man. To
Right.
see what you give us and us trying to give you something, you still was able to give us energy and life just by your witness and your testimony, man. It just speaks to the volumes of the man that you are. Darryl, listen, man, on behalf of the Boy Man King podcast, we want to say thank you again.
Thank you.
Man, go support. Let the people know where they can follow you as well. I don't think you said that. Where can people go follow you, Darryl?
Yeah, you can reach me any platform on social media, and that's the number 1 Darryl, Darryl W Thomas, Thomas. So 1 Darryl W Thomas, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, X, any one of those platforms, YouTube as well. And then of course you can go to the website, which is darrellwthomas.com. But yeah, that's where you can find us, man. I would love to connect for sure.
And you heard it here, man, on another episode of the Boy Man King podcast. And as we say, the journey continues. We out, man. Y'all be blessed.